Again, welcome back to the Shed of Basketball Truth. This is Studio 3 for Ball Don't Lie Australia, proudly brought to you, of course, by Dr Electrician, servicing all your North Adelaide and all of Brisbane, across all of Brisbane. And, of course, thank you to local card shop for Woolloongabba for supporting our show with our Crack'ems segment. Big week of basketball. Olympics is wrapped up, and while definitely wanted to play this song for the Boomers, we get up for the Opals. Rose gold for the Opals this year instead. And look, inevitable outcome versus USA, but that Belgium game, we gave him some chances late, but right in the last minute or two, we really dug it out and closed it off. It was Alana Smith, just wow. Everybody getting their bronze medal. Fantastic job, Opals. Absolutely awesome. Of course, Boomers came up short in OT. FIBA Paddy was on show. But then in OT, just where we came across a struggle we've had in different times, in different situations that were fairly similar, where we just couldn't find baskets when we really needed them. And of course, we had that massive lead, and but it is what it is. We were there. We were right. We were close. Next time. Of course, big thank you to Gorgon, who's going to step away after 16 years with the Boomers in total. Look, took us to the mountain. We weren't too far off getting back there. It was just, felt like a little bit Boomers of old, where we just couldn't get it done. But big shout out, of course, to Paddy and Joey. That moment of when the Rose Gold was won, and Ingles giving little Paddy a hug there in front of the backboard in Tokyo. That moment will stick with me. Hell of a ride. If this is the end of FIBA Paddy, then it's been a wild one. He'll still always, the greatest moment for me with Paddy was that, and there's been some amazing ones. That moment after he got his bronze medal in Tokyo and just said he'd hang it up at mum and dad's. I mean, that just so real. But anyway, if that is the end, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for your service and all that sort of stuff, because it's been a wild ride. And now we've got the next generation coming through, and what that's going to look like. Look, hopefully bigger and better, and we get back on the podium at some point. But emotional times. Doesn't seem to matter what time it is. You always get up for these Boomers games. And yeah, and obviously America takes home the golds in the end. Both games tighter than they would have liked, but they still get it done in the end. And Steph. A little bit closer to home, of course, NBL1 North has wrapped up as well since we were last on. Caps went to Mackay and fortunately got swept. In the end, tight games. Mackay just getting it done in the fourth both times round. Caps were in those games. It just didn't break their way in the end. But considering the season they had last year and the season they had this year, complete turnaround, and Mackay just hats off. Only dropped the 2 games the entire season. So deep, went after it. got all the pieces together, and super deep. Well done, JK. An amazing ring collection you've got there. I am wildly envious, as I'm sure most people are. And of course, Rocky getting it done against the Wizards. Unfortunately, in that third game, friend of the show, of course, Aaron Bowman, making that finger in the hand, really tough stuff. Rocky came out early, looking real good in that third quarter of the first game, and then couldn't keep it rolling. Northside looked like Northside in the fourth quarter. But from that point, Rocky really clapped back really aggressively, got it done in the second. And it was really that first half where it could have really got away from them, but they didn't allow that. They came out strong and then just built that momentum and kept it rolling, slowed down the fast break points and scored their own points in the paint, which allowed them to get it done. Stretch it to 3 games, do it the tough way, but then still get it done. So congratulations to Rocky, all the friends of the show up there, of course, Muffy, Drew, Lara, and everyone else associated with it. And then, of course, leads to Rocky unable to make the journey, so they've pulled out. And then what followed, which has then led to Spartans will be joining at Nationals after a month off. Talented team, though. Can knock it down from range, can defend inside. Let's leave some of the other stuff there, but, Spartans will be going to Nationals. Congrats to them. They will be, if everyone shows and everyone goes, they could make a push. We'll obviously just have to see. But this is the problem with national finals. It all depends on who remains from regular season, who's got duties to get off to, whether it be here in Australia or further abroad, or if players take a break, not expecting to make nationals, or what exactly it is. So, look, we'll just have to see how that all shakes out. I'll be talking about it more on another Southern podcast tomorrow. We'll break that down with a little bit like we did last year, with a bit of an Avengers style podcast with people coming in from across Australia, across the conferences, to talk about the finals and who they're looking forward to seeing, and different elements of what we've got to look forward to. Should be absolutely fantastic, though. The games themselves will still be good. Make sure tickets are still available. Make sure you get up to the sunny coast to watch. I'll be there for all 3 days. Should be absolutely fantastic. Basketball, and these things have been real spectator things to see. The tricky thing is, of course, that they can only be in one part of Australia at a time, but Sunshine Coast, isn't that far away, especially from the shed of Basketball Truth. So I'll be making the journey up, catching all 3 games, get around it. It'll be fantastic. But we've got to now get to the most important thing on today's show, and that's our chat with Jerron Jamerson. He's back. Let's get into it with Jerron about nationals this year. And of course, we'll have to do some of that good old fashioned who's that teammate. All right, Ball Don't Lie listeners, here we go again. It's been a little while. We're actually seeing his face this time. Last time it was just audio. He's returning to the show, 2-time NBL North champ, returning friend of the show, and of course a glowing recommendation by Megan Mo Mulling. So we couldn't not have Jerron Jamerson back on. Jerron, welcome back.
Yes, sir. Thanks again. Like I said, the last time we had just came off the championship, so it's good to. I know y'all was on the wrong side of it, but yeah, it's definitely good to be back for sure.
Look, my Caps had a great season, especially the turnaround from last year to this one. It was fantastic. They didn't get the chockies, but it was still two really good games.
Yeah,
Excuse me, 2
100%.
really good games of basketball. So that's all you can hope for as a fan.
Yeah.
All right, Jerron. Obviously, normally we get into, where your basketball journey started. Since it's been a while, how about you remind us of where your basketball journey actually began?
Yep. So initially, like I said, I finished. It's crazy because I only had one. Maybe I just started in high school. I only had one scholarship offer coming out of high school, and that was to go to junior college. So I did that. Owens Community College over in Toledo, Ohio. I finished my last 2 years at Goshen College, an NAIA school, just outside of my city in South Bend. It's in Goshen, Indiana, probably about 45 minutes. I finished that 2014. I had a year back at home, and then I played in NBL Canada, out the National League out in Canada. Then I came to Australia 2016. I played in Canada in 2015. Came here 2016. That was Darwin initially. I came out there. That was I was back and forth out there, and then I had a couple stints for a little while in Perth, but I didn't actually get to play the full season out there. So yeah, Perth, and then I came to Queensland about 2018. 2018, that's when I played for Seahawks. Yeah, and it's like I said, kind of been full circle since then because I think we was not bottom of the ladder, but I think we was maybe second from the bottom when I played at Seahawks. I had a good season statistically, individually, but like I said, at the end of the day, if you don't get the wins, nobody really too much put that respect on it. So yeah, it's kind of full circle being able to come back here to Mackay and get that second championship.
Well, from the outside looking in, apart from, they can't win without you, mate.
Yeah.
You went off to Darwin for a couple of years. They couldn't get it done. You come back all of a sudden. I mean,
And then we
there's got
finish
to
it
be a
again.
correlation there, right?
It
There's got to be.
got to be something in the water or something. Hey,
Mate, you have played a fair whack of 3-on-3
yep.
over the journey as well. Which is your personal preference in those two? Obviously, it's still basketball, but there's a lot of different nuances in those two games.
For sure, that's actually a really good question. In my personal opinion, I think obviously since 5-on-5 is obviously close to my heart because obviously it's the main thing I've been playing since I was pretty much playing basketball. But obviously 3-on-3, obviously not in the FIBA rules sense, but just in general, I've been playing that pretty much my whole life as well too. Just growing up obviously at the parks and just getting friends together and playing and stuff as well. Obviously the FIBA rules is a bit different, but it's really I would kind of say it's about 50-50. Just from the standpoint of NBL1 season is good for me to be able to play 5-on-5, but at the same time, when that's over, I'm like pretty eager to get into the 3-on-3 stuff again as well too. And it's just good because it gives me the opportunity to be able to see different places and play different places for no cost. Obviously being able to see places that I haven't seen and be places that I haven't been that I wouldn't have the opportunity to do otherwise. So it's good.
Well, Egypt, of course. Now, obviously, we touched on it briefly, but your return to Mackay this year, how was it different this go around? So to see some familiar faces, some brand new, very different team to then as well.
Yeah. Like obviously for just from a team perspective, it's like you said, it's a pretty different team just as far as like the makeup. Obviously, Rassi is the one consistent component.
He was there when Coach Vandy won with Mackay way back in the day.
Before I even got to Australia, so he's been here ever since then. Anyway, so
yeah,
but it's definitely teammate wise, it's definitely a different team. But for me, it's been different. Just from the standpoint of obviously me and Manny as well too. Being a couple of we was being pretty much the main scorers, the go-to guys, the first time, and being able to finish that championship, and obviously being starters and stuff like that, and obviously having a conversation with JK in the off season, with Todd and Isaac coming up. Obviously Isaac was here last year, but with Todd coming up as well too. It wasn't a thought coming in, but I told them that I would. Me and him had a conversation. And I told him that I think it would be better for me to come off the bench and be able to have that firepower to come off the bench. Obviously, still play the minutes that I would play regardless. But from that perspective, it's been different for me. Just getting used to that role, and obviously it took quite a few games at the beginning of the season. I'll probably say like maybe 3 or 4 games And then after that, especially towards the middle of the season, it was when I kind of found my groove and found where my shots was going to come and when to attack, when not to attack, and different stuff like that as well too. So yeah, obviously at the end of the day, like you said, both were successful and we ended up winning the championship anyway. So sacrifice, as long as it was for a reason, we all good.
All right. Now, where do you feel as if this, the real strength of this Mackay team is? I mean, looking at the record doesn't tell the story because obviously you've only dropped those 2 games. But where is the genuine, as someone who's in the huddle at these training sessions, where's the true strength as you see it from this Mackay Meteors team this season?
To be honest, I think you kind of just touched on it, and I'll tell people this quite a bit. I think that the strength in our team comes from how hard we train. Like the fact that we train, obviously we only train the 2 days a week, but we there for maybe sometimes 2.5, 3 hours. You know what I'm saying? So we there and we really get after it. Like I think and that's the one constant between the first time and the second and this time as well too, 2021 and this season as well. I think the one constant is the fact that everybody's intention when we come to training is to make each other better. So I think that's the biggest thing, because not a lot of teams do that. Because I done played for quite a few teams around the league, and a lot of teams don't really, number one, train hard, and number two, people get work outside of training and be able to get individuals up and stuff like that as well too. So I think just the intent to make each other better is, I think that's what kind of pushed us over the line, and obviously the conditioning aspect. Because I think just a lot of teams, by the time we get to the fourth quarter, a lot of teams can't run up and down with us. So I think that's the biggest thing. And yeah, just the way we get after it defensively, just from a game plan perspective, just like I said, our tempo and the way we get after it defensively. But I think the biggest thing is, like I said, just the fact that we just push each other so hard at training.
Now, of course, Joel Kalu is leaving Mackay at, well, this is his last season there, and he showed off his stunning ring collection of championship rings. Just wowzers. But what is his actual coaching style like, at the training session, in the huddle, not necessarily the bits that everyone gets to see, but, through the week?
Like the thing about JK is like what you get is what you see is kind of what you get, from the standpoint of, like, especially not only at practice but in the games, he real intense. And he just, I think accountability is the biggest thing with him, just as far as he try to make training as difficult as possible, the training environment as difficult as possible, so that way he doesn't have to overcoach in the games. And I think from the players and kind of the leadership that we had this season and holding each other accountable, I think that was the best thing that we could have had, just from the standpoint of us pushing each other and holding each other accountable. I think some of his personality as far as coaching wise rubbed off on us as players.
All right. Now, looking ahead to nationals, were you as a team, over the weekend, were you guys doing a watch party? Was it just a group chat situation, or because you guys didn't really know who you were going to, play going into the weekend, was it just more of a relaxed situation around, coming in with, of course, NBL1 North, locking things in a week earlier than everyone else?
Yeah, 100%. I think because quite a few people in quite a different in quite a few places, but I think for the vast majority, I think it was kind of a relaxed kind of feel, if I'm be honest. But I think at the same time, everybody was kind of clued in, because for me personally, I didn't seen a lot of these teams and seen a lot of these different players, so I wasn't really too worried, because I know quite a few players on the different teams anyway, whether it was the winners or the eventual winners or the losers in the different conferences. But yeah, no, I think for the vast majority, it was kind of a relaxed kind of feel. It was like, and that's kind of how we went about this season as well. Like, whoever we get, that's who we're going to have to worry about at the time. So we're not really worried about who wins or who loses. But at the end of the day, when we figure it out, then that's when we're going to have to figure it out, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it certainly does. Obviously, Mandurah Magic on Friday.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great test. Obviously, tickets are still available. Get around it. I'll definitely be there for sure.
Yeah.
Now, the Nationals, how does it rank for yourself, and what's the vibe around the team? Because I know, at different locations and for different teams, they can have one or two outs when they get to this, and they just seem to lose all intensity, and things seem to fade. Is that the case here, or is the job not done? We've got to climb that mountain, and this is worth going after.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's we obviously the job is definitely not done for us. And I think the kind of coaching staff and the group that we have, we will hold each other accountable enough to be like, all right, fellas, we got to make sure we stay locked in. But at the same time, it's best for us because this year we won. It just happened to be in Sunshine Coast, so
Mm.
so we don't have to travel as far as some of these other teams do, especially like Mandurah, for example. They got to travel all the way from WA. And yeah, like you said, we just kind of trying to stay focused on what it is. And don't get me wrong, it's definitely a difficult task, especially when you have all of those celebrations and stuff once you finish the season, and to be able to not only do that but have to lock back in after that and finish and be able to try to finish the season out on a high note. But yeah, like I said, our end objective is we want to finish the season on a win, and the only way we're doing that is if we finish out on that championship again, the Nationals.
All right. Now, one last question. I know expressions of interest have gone out today for Mackay's head coach next season. Now, as someone who's played there, I'm not looking for you to drop names or anything, but what do you think the head coach there sort of really needs to have as part of their quiver, part of their set of skill sets coming in?
That's a good question. I think from a base perspective, obviously you got to be a winner at the end of the day, as far as like being able to rally a group. But I think for here in Mackay, I think you got to have a coach that understands community, like from this, like the group here, not only the players but the fans and everybody around, sponsors, everything as well. Everybody get around the team, and not only just on the court, but I think that's the biggest thing. Not just from not just a head coach that's gonna show up for the games, do what they got to do, and then get out of here. I think that's the biggest thing here in Mackay, because obviously it's not the biggest town in the universe. So you're gonna see people out at the markets, you're gonna see people out at the shops or whatever, and then just a general daily life, and just to being able to have a conversation with somebody there will make a world of a difference. That's going to get them out to a game, or get them to sponsor individual players, or get them to be one of the major sponsors, or whatever the case may be. So I think that that's definitely something that has to be important when it comes to our next coach. They definitely have to have an understanding of that, the community here, the community feel here in Mackay.
All righty. Now it is time. Not time for nationals just yet, but it's time for Who's That Teammate, the game that is single-handedly taking the NBL1 North by storm. We put JK through. He did come up a little bit short, 2 out of 3. Are you ready though, John?
I feel like I am ready. Hopefully.
All right, let's do it. All right, for those who are playing at home, I've got 3 clues. They each start off, really hard, get a little bit easier, but you got 3 guesses. Give it a guess each time if you like, or just hold for that final clue. Up to you. I've seen both ways of doing things work, but let's get into it. Who's that teammate? Player number 1, clue number 1, Fancy Ute. Fancy Ute is your first clue. Fancy
Let me think.
Ute.
Hold up. Nah, not.
I can give clue number 2 if you like.
Clue number 2.
All right. Returner. So Fancy Ute, clue number 1, and a returner to Mackay basketball. And third and final clue. Played 13 games this season, according to NBL1 North statistics. So 13 games this season. Returner and Fancy Ute.
Let me think. Not Mad Dog, maybe? Kai?
No, not Kai. Not Kai.
I'm trying to think. Returner. So it got to be. Nah, not.
Fancy Ute, returner, and 13 games this season.
13 games, so it's not. That take quite a few. Nah, because Luka played all of the games. Let me see. Played majority. Ooh.
Yep.
It gotta be somebody off the bench. All
right. I'm going to need you to lock in your last.
I want to say Manny.
Manuel Malou.
That's
yes,
it.
it is. Yes, it is. Malou, of course, being Malou Ute, one of the fanciest utes you can buy.
Okay.
You could buy. There was a Holden ute, of course, played 13 games and, of course, returned this season as well. All right, 1 from 1. 1 from 1. Player 2, here we go. Played in the North last season. In the North last season. Number 2 in the Players tab. So their name will come up as the second player in the Players tab when you click on the NBL1 North website and you click on Aiden Krause. It is.
Easy.
Yes, indeed. And, of course, he played in the North, as in North Gold Coast Seahawks last season as well.
Yep.
All right. Nice, easy one. Okay. Player number 3. Not born in Australia. Not born in Australia. Clue 1. Averaged, 6.9 rebounds per game this season.
Yep.
And final clue, 77. 6.9 rebounds per game, not born in Australia, and 77 is the final clue.
Luca
it is. Yep.
That's it.
Yes, sir.
I was going to say Luca first. As soon as you said not born in Australia, I'm like, that's the only one it could be.
Indeed. All right. There's hey, 3 out of 3. You took a little bit of extra time warming into your first one, but still, you got there. You'll be able to let JK know that you got 3 and he only got 2. So
that's it.
Very good. All right. One last question before we let you go, Jerron. And we've hit you with this question before. Who should we have on the show next?
Oh, that's a good question. To be honest, I don't think it would be that bad of an idea to try to get one of my good friends. Obviously, he played with me the last 2 years in Darwin. Try to get McQuatch on if you can.
McQuatch, we'll add him to the list, and of course, if you could help out there, that would be great. But mate, best of luck for the finals, the national finals. Of course, you've wrapped up the NBL1 North Finals. Got yourself another piece of jewelry. Hopefully, it's packed up nice and safe for the house move you've got on.
Yeah, 100%.
Look, best of luck. I'll come say g'day at some point over the weekend, and hey, time to show the rest of Australia why the NBL1 North is where it's at.
100%, man. I appreciate that again, bro, and I'll see you soon.
Huge thank you to Jerron Jamerson for returning for us here on Ball Don't Lie Australia. Always great to have you on, Jerron. Thank you for giving up your time before training tonight. But look, like I said earlier, tickets are still available for nationals. Get around it. Mackay's coming to the Sunshine Coast to play. Make sure you get your tickets. I'll be there all 3 days as well, supporting the North. Make sure you do too. If you can't get there, I believe all games will be on KO, but details will, of course, be on the NBL1 app. So make sure you get around that this week. And that is going to wrap us up. We'll be back with some local card shop of Woolloongabba Crackham for our next show. But we are going to step away. Here we'll be back with some different things on the socials over the weekend. We might even do some mini-sodes. We'll just have to wait and see. But we'll be there with feet on the ground. So we'll be looking to put some stuff on the socials over the weekend. So make sure you do get around that at ball_don't_lie_Australia. on Instagram is where the majority of it will be pumped out. So make sure you're getting around that over the weekend. It's going to be fantastic, but that is going to wrap us up here tonight. Make sure you get around the Nationals. It should be fantastic. And on the 17th, this Saturday, if you can't get around Nationals, Bullets will be running an open practice at Northside at Zilmere. So make sure you get around that 17th of August. Get around that if you're not going to Nationals to watch the games. Do please, if you are watching, if you are on a streaming service that allows 5-star reviews, please do go ahead and do that and make sure you follow, share, like, subscribe, all that stuff across all the socials. Get that done. But until you're listening to us again, just remember that ball don't lie.